of Nazim Bey's, known from the revolution of the Neo-Turks.
Στις 18 Οκτωβρίου 1912, η Πέμπτη Μεραρχία εισέρχεται στην περιοχή Αμυντέου και την απελευθερώνει για πρώτη φορά.
On the 19th, it moves north and after a short battle passes Gürlider Ven and finally reaches Vevi. On the 21st, the 5th Battalion faces strong Turkish resistance in the region of Vevi and Lofos, where after a difficult battle with many losses, they are forced to retreat back to Aminteo. On the 22nd, they face sporadic fire from the Turkish artillery, which was placed at Anemodarto and aimed at the Greek lines. The Greek artillery responded to the Turkish threat and the hostilities continued until 5 in the afternoon. On the 23rd, the famous Battle of Sorovitz takes place. At 9 in the morning, the Turkish artillery fires repeatedly against the Greek forces. Around midday, a successful counter-attack occurs, directing the village of Petres.
Και φτάνουμε στην αποφράδα ημέρα της 24ης Οκτωβρίου 1912, που στοιχιώνει την ιστορία του ελληνικού μας στρατού. Ό,τι δεν κατάφεραν οι τουρκικές δυνάμεις όλο το προηγούμενο διάστημα κατά των ελληνικών δυνάμεων, το πέτυχε με μια παράτολμη ενέργειά του ένας Τουρκαλβανός αξιωματικός, ο Εσάτ. Ο Εσάτ πρότεινε στον αρχηγό των τουρκικών δυνάμεων, Τζαβίτ Πασά, να εκτελέσει παράτολμη και ρυψοκίνδυνη ενέργεια με λίγους άνδρες και 4 μόνο πολυβόλα στα μετώπιστεν των ελληνικών δυνάμεων. Ο Τζαβίτ Πασάς με πολύ μεγάλη δυσκολία έδωσε την άδειά του για τη ρυψοκίνδυνη ενέργεια στον Εσάτ. Του επέστησε όμως την προσοχή να μην αποτύχει, διότι αλλιώς θα διέταζε τον τουφεκισμό του. Ο Εσάτ όμως προκάλεσε πανικό στις ελληνικές στρατιωτικές δυνάμεις και την άτακτη υποχώρηση και σύμπτυξη της Πέμπτης Μεραρχίας, τμήματα της οποίας έφτασαν μέχρι τα Σέρβια. Ένας Τούρκος Μπέης, ο Ισίν Χασάν, από τα χωριά Φανός και Ροδόνας της περιοχής, συνεργάστηκε με τις τουρκικές δυνάμεις και τους εγγυήθηκε πως θα βρει κατάλληλους οδηγούς για να τους καθοδηγήσουν στη διέλευσή τους μέσα από τον Βάλτο. Ο κυριότερος οδηγός για αυτή τη δουλειά ήταν ο γνωστός από την εποχή του Μακεδονικού Αγώνα κομιτατζής Καρά Κομίτ, καταγόμενος από την περιοχή Παιδινού.
At 6:30 in the morning, the Turks passed the village of Rodonas and using boats and dry footpaths through the marshes, found themselves at Nea Komi behind the Greek lines. When they arrived, the dogs began to bark and the 5th Battalion sent vanguards to see what was happening. They informed their commander of what was going on in the village. The commander, showing unforgivable negligence, disregards the event, mocking them that they see Turks even when they are sleeping.
Ο Εσάτ λοιπόν το πρωί της 24ης Οκτωβρίου 1912 και συγκεκριμένα στις 6.30 έταξε τα πολυβόλα φτάνοντας βόρεια των ερειπίων της Νέας Κόμης στα μετώπιστεν του ελληνικού στρατού και συγκεκριμένα στο σημείο όπου ήταν εγκατεστημένος ο 5ος λόχος μηχανικού της Πέμπτης Μεραρχίας.
Causing panic with continuous firing and shouting, he struck the Greek troops, who abandoned their posts and weapons, even their clothing. The Turks, confused, moved towards the lines of the 5th Artillery. They soon realized that they were going to resist. They only threw 10 shots before the commander of the artillery, Spiridon de la Portas, fell along with 2nd Lieutenant Athanasios Doukas. Another heroic attempt was that of the commander of the bridging order, who ordered the 2nd Battalion to come to the aid of the 5th Artillery Unit. They approached their positions, but were attacked by enemy fire and retreated. They did offer their help, though, to the healthcare department of the outdoor surgery and other departments during the retreat. A shining example of resistance is the response of the 6th Artillery Unit. Their commander, Theodoros Koskinas, refused to surrender his machine guns, and the Turks executed him, along with Konstantinos Kathikouris, Nikitas Ikonomopoulos, and a few others.
During those events, a large number of the local townspeople fled east and arrived at Servia, where they were temporarily accommodated. Αμίντιο and Ξινό Νερό were burned.
40 κάτοικοι του Ξινού Νερού, οι οποίοι είχαν αρνηθεί να εγκαταλείψουν τις εστίες τους, συνελήφθησαν από τις τουρκικές δυνάμεις που εισήλθαν μέσα στο χωριό μετά την άτακτη υποχώρηση των Ελλήνων και τους έκλεισαν μέσα σε ένα στάβλο, τον οποίο τον πυρπόλησαν.
While the aforementioned events were taking place in the west, the main body of the army of Thessalia, after the victorious Battle of Giannitsa on the 20th, moves towards Saloniki and on the 27th march in the streets of the city. The mission that Venizelos had appointed to Konstantinos was a success. After the liberation of the city, Konstantinos and his companions were finally free to pursue their desire to move towards Monastiri. As a matter of fact, most officers were nurtured with the ideas of the National Company, and many of them had fought during the Macedonian struggle at Florina and Monastiri. They believed that the liberation of those regions would justify the sacrifice of Pavlos Melas and the rest of the Macedonian fighters that fell during the struggle. After all, the region had deep Greek roots and had paid a heavy price during the turbulent first decade of the 20th century. On the 1st of November, the order is finally given to free the areas north of Kozani. For this purpose, 4 divisions are activated. On their side, the 5th Division, which was recently regrouped under the command of Colonel Giannadis. The much-afflicted division, empowered with forces of Evzones, will be engaged in a 2-day battle at Komano against the Mustafa Pasas and Niazis. On the 4th of November, around midday, the Turks fall back defeated towards Amido and Vevi. The troops of the division, whose spirits were crushed on the 24th of the previous month, were now high. The main body of the army, after freeing Edessa, moves towards Arnissa, where a strong defense line of the Turks was gathered. The 6th Division, being in a better position, took over and fought against the enemy forces in an area between Arnissa and Kelly. On the 4th, the battle ends in victory, and 2 days later, on the 6th, another victorious battle at Kelly this time is added to the trophies of the division of Colonel Miliotis Komnenos.
Κατά την διάρκεια της αναμέτρησης με τους Τούρκους, ο Κομνηνός βρίσκει πολύτιμη βοήθεια από ντόπιους κατοίκους της Κέλλης, οι οποίοι εξοπλισμένοι και υπό την καθοδήγηση του ιερέα του χωριού τους, Πέτρου Παπαναστασίου, επιτίθενται κατά των Τούρκων εκ των όπισθεν και επιφέρουν την ολοσχερή συντριβή του εκεί αμυνωμένου τουρκικού τάγματος. Μάλιστα ήταν τέτοιο το μέγεθος των εχθρικών απολειών, ώστε ο διάδοχος Κωνσταντίνος, απευθυνόμενος προς τον διοικητή του ευζωνικού τάγματος, είπε «Πώς τους ετύλιξες τους καημένους τους Τούρκους και έκανες τέτοιο μακελιό, μωρέ Παπαδόπουλε?»
In the meantime, the 4th Division, under the command of Major General Moschopoulos, and after short scuffles, moved towards Grammatiko and the east bank of Egoritida Lake. The villages were found abandoned and they faced no resistance whatsoever. On the 6th of November, the vanguards of the division enter Amideo without any resistance. The entrance into the town is described by war correspondent Spiros Melas as such.
Leaving Kalardzi, we were walking towards Sorovitz, a town blessed by Bacchus, which was once prosperous. There grow the best vines of Macedonia, and whoever drinks wine from Sorovitz never forgets it. We found nothing but asses. What was left of that once wealthy town was a few houses which stood by the black smoke, among them the railway station and the telegraph office.
The Turks had organized their defense with 3 battalions at the narrow passes of Klidi. There, Moschopoulos sent his cavalry with commanding officer of the squadron, Manos, along with 2 battalions of infantry, with the support of Kougeteas artillery. The battle was ambivalent, but when the artillery of Mangelopoulos arrived, the Turks left their positions and fled in panic towards the plain of Banitsa. It was the afternoon of November the 6th, and the headquarters of the division were settled at the railway station of Amideo. The same day, the 5th Division of Colonel Genadis arrived at Sotiras and camped there.
Στις 6 του μηνός, ο μουφτής της Φλόρινας, Χουλουσί Εφέντης στο όνομα, ένας πολύ καλός άνθρωπος, όπως λέγαν όλοι οι παλιοί Φλωρινιώτες, διεπίστωσε ότι οι Σέρβοι είναι πιο κοντά στην Φλόρινα από ότι ο ελληνικός στρατός. Αυτός και οι μπέιδες και οι αγάδες της Φλόρινας θέλαν να παραδώσουν την Φλόρινα στον ελληνικό στρατό, γιατί λέγανε οι ίδιοι ότι από εσάς τα πήραμε, σε εσάς πρέπει να τα παραδώσουμε. Έστειλε 2 Τούρκους, τον Χατζή Αχμέτ Τζαφέρ και έναν άλλον μπέι, να πάνε στο Μητροπολίτη μας Πολύκαρπο, να τον παρακαλέσουν να πάει στο τζαμί της Φλόρινας να παρευρεθεί στη σύσκεψη την οποία πραγματοποιούσαν την ώρα εκείνη όλοι οι Τούρκοι προύχοντες. Ο Μητροπολίτης πήρε μαζί του τον γραμματέας Μητροπόλεως που ήταν ο Τέγος Σαπουτζής μαζί με τον γιατρό Βαλάση Μενέλαο και πήγανε στο τζαμί. Έτσι απεφασίστηκε και δημιουργήθηκε μια επιτροπή η οποία θα πήγε να προσκαλέσει τον ελληνικό στρατό να έρθει να απελευθερώσει τη Φλόρινα. Με αρχηγό τον Παπαθανάση, ακολουθούμενος από τον γιατρό Βαλάση, από 5 Τούρκους, πήγαν και βρήκαν τον ελληνικό στρατό και επέδωσαν για τον διοικητή της 5ης Μεραρχίας που ήταν ο στρατηγός Γεννάδης ένα σημείωμα του Μητροπολίτη στο οποίο έγραφε ότι
Dear Commander of the Greek Army, I make known to you that our friends and allies the Serbians have seized Monastiri and moved towards Florina. The Turks of Florina pray that the Greek forces will hurry to the city and occupy it. They assure you that not they, nor the retreating Turkish forces will show any resistance.
Only a few miles northwest, at the north bank of the Egorrhitida Lake, at Arnissa, Konstantinos had established the headquarters of the army. The same night, Genimatas, the second in command of the squadron and sent by the Greek army to the Serbian staff, informs the general that all of Javid's army retreats south, ready to face the Greek forces.
On the 6th, Konstantinos gave out 3 orders. The first was at 9:30 in the morning. The 1st Regiment of the cavalry will move from Keli to Vevi. 20 minutes later, he gives a new order that the 1st Regiment will go to Vevi and the rest will go to Aminteo Exino Nero. At 4 o'clock, he issues a new order that states that the 1st Regiment of the cavalry must siege Florina and go beyond the city. On the 6th of November, they spent the night at Keli, near Kourouchesme.
On the 7th of November, at dawn, the cavalry moves from Keli to Florina. The city's population at that time was 6,500 Turks and 3,000 Greek residents.